Hi, Julia. So this is a chance for people visiting your website to get to know you. And so my first question for you is, what made you decide to be a therapist?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I had previously worked in pediatric health and nutrition research for 5 years, and although I really enjoyed it, I realized that if I was going to be moving up in that research field, I would actually become a little bit more removed from that individual client and patient interaction that I so much enjoyed. So when I was thinking about, okay, what am I going to go back to school to do a master's in, I think social work ended up popping up for me, especially as I did have my own experience being diagnosed with ADHD in post-secondary school, and I had a really great experience with a therapist at that time who did really valuable work with me, and I wanted to support others that might be in similar situations as they work through some challenges. And I would also say that in general, I've just been very interested in holistic health, and social work as a field in general tends to have that holistic view. We're looking at the social determinants of health. We're really looking at the full person. And so I thought that that would be something that would be meaningful for me to engage in.
So it wasn't always linear, but one way or another you found yourself doing one thing or another to help people. Exactly. And now here you are.
Yeah.
So what would you say makes working with you different?
Willow Wellness and Psychotherapy was inspired by my mom, Lori, who, when asked about what she would do when she went through stressful times as a younger child, she would actually find solace and comfort under the protective branches of a willow tree. So that had inspired the logo. And in general, her warmth, resilience, and compassion has inspired my therapeutic approach as well. I would also say that I work from a very eclectic approach. So that means that I use a variety of therapeutic modalities. No two clients are going to get the exact same therapeutic experience. I really do tailor it to their goals and their needs so that they're getting this custom experience. So I use modalities such as cognitive behavioral therapy, acceptance and commitment therapy, dialectical behavioral therapy. These are all evidence-based therapies supported by the literature, and I found them really effective in the treatment of clients.
Okay, so it sounds like you really tailor your approach to each person's individual needs, and it's a beautiful thing that you've extended your mom's legacy and you infuse her legacy in your work. So what type of populations do you work with, and what would that look like?
So I work with children, teens, and adults in my therapeutic practice. I would say that I specialize in working with children and teens. I've worked at Boomerang Health that's powered by Sick Kids, where I exclusively would see youth-based clients. When I'm working with individuals who are under the age of 12, the literature does support that using directive play therapy can be a really effective modality, as they're able to stay engaged in session, and the skills that we learn can then be applied outside of session as well. And that can be for individuals who, yes, are under 12, but maybe they also are managing through autism or they have developmental delays. It can also be helpful for them. I would say when working with teens, because of my background experience as a crisis intervention counselor, I've really seen the intense pressures that teens can go through. And so whether that is building, peer relationships, or whether that is working through homework stresses, or whether that's trying to understand how to better work in the family dynamics, that's something that I really prioritize with teens. I would say with my adult population, something that we commonly discuss in session might be around the topic of grief and loss. It could be divorce, perhaps someone has just become a new parent, or maybe there's career or other major life transitions that they need help processing. So regardless of what the client is coming in with, I support them on their journey, and we set tailored goals based on their needs.
It's really nice that you use a different approach for each population, and it's nice that you even draw from the science to back up the work that you do. Okay, so it sounds like you have a lot of experience working with different populations. What would you say are some of your core beliefs about therapy?
So I really believe that therapy is not something that should just stay in the therapeutic hour and within the therapy room. So I do provide clients a lot of action plans. So whether that is going to be something that looks like identifying our unhelpful core beliefs or our unhelpful thinking traps, or whether that's going to be a thought record, or maybe we're practicing some emotional regulation strategies or some mindfulness tips. something to practice outside of the session, because we know that what we practice does grow stronger. So I think that that's something that's really important. And I would also say in general, therapy is really a space for people to tap into their inner voice, to tap into their authenticity and explore maybe some of the underlying emotions that seem sometimes confusing or overwhelming. And so that's something that I prioritize in the session.
That sounds really rewarding and heartwarming. To wrap this up, what would you say to parents who are considering enrolling their kids or teens in therapy but are on the fence about it?
I would say that if they're unsure and feeling a little bit on the fence, they're definitely not alone in that boat. And I have worked with clients and families who have come in kind of with that similar experience. So I would encourage the family to access the free 15-minute consultation that I do offer. And for teens, sometimes they like to come on their own, but sometimes the parent likes to join for that. And certainly if the child is going to do the consult, parents are welcome to join. Part of my approach that I think is really important too is that when I am working with any minor under the age of 18, I do encourage parents to book in, usually between 5 to 8 sessions, we book in what I call a parent consultation. And so this allows me to keep the family updated on what we're working in therapy. Of course, I am respecting the child or teen's confidentiality, but it allows us to kind of review what's happening for the teen in session, and it also gives me an opportunity to understand what's happening outside of session to make sure that we're still working on the same relevant goals.
Okay, sounds like a team effort.
Definitely. But then.
Okay, so it's a really collaborative process. What about an adult client who's on the fence about therapy? What would you say to them?
I would say that it's okay to be unsure about therapy, and that it's actually quite a big decision to make, like who your therapist is going to be and if you even feel comfortable coming into a space and being vulnerable. I would just say that when we're starting out in therapy, it is very much, I'm working from a client-centered approach. So I'm getting to know you, I'm not diving into extremely deep, intrusive questions. We're just kind of warming up and getting a sense of what might be important for you to focus on, set goals on, maybe what your values are. Sometimes people are debating therapy and they are unsure of what they would even come in and speak about. So you don't have to prepare things ahead of time. You don't have to prepare questions. This is part of my job and my role, and I will make the space comfortable for you as much as I can.
It's clear that you're passionate about the work that you do. Thank you so much for sharing your insights today.
Thank you. I really enjoyed this opportunity to have clients get to know me a little bit through this video, and I'm grateful for the work that I get to do every day.